You're listening to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. This is episode 41, and today's topic is Extrasensory Perception, or ESP. Hey everyone, Adam Musalli here. Welcome to the Dynamic Thinking Project podcast. If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. This podcast is released every Friday, and show notes are found at the website, themindtechinstitute.com. It's all one word. Come back often and feel free to add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All links are in the show notes and website. Now, let's get started. Lots of our students during our NLP or hypnotherapy training, and even in my seminars, some people ask me about ESP, or extrasensory perception. And they ask me if it's real, if it's just a gimmick. And my answer is, and as usual, anything is possible. And by the way, if you would like to study and become a fully qualified hypnotherapist or a neuro-linguistic programming, better known as NLP, if you would like to become a life coach or even a counselor, now you can study all that totally online. All you have to do is just visit mti.edu.au or themindtechinstitute.com, and you'll find all these courses along with other courses once you click on the online courses tab. And also, all our diplomas and advanced diplomas are accredited and recognized worldwide. The Mindtech Institute is an accredited institute, and all information can be found on the website mti.edu.au or simply themindtechinstitute.com. So going back to extrasensory perception, or ESP, which is the ability to perceive information without using your 5 physical senses. And there are several types of ESP, such as precognition, such as clairvoyance, telepathy, and clairaudience. Of course, there are more, but these are the most common ones. Before we get to that, let's start first with the history of ESP. The concept of extrasensory perception, it has been a part of many cultures throughout history. For example, precognition and history have been an important part of many cultures, including the Celts of the Scottish Highlands, the Sami in Scandinavia, the Middle Eastern culture, the Native Americans, in Asia, the Zulu of Africa, the Maori of New Zealand, I believe in the Aboriginal culture in Australia, and many other cultures. So it's not something new. ESP was reportedly observed in the early days of hypnosis among the followers of Anton Mesmer. And if you have done the online or in-class hypnosis training with us, you would know this as we cover it in the beginning of the course. So patients put into a trance state and were observed to demonstrate telepathic abilities, visions, and clairvoyance. However, unlike parapsychologists, the followers of Mesmer believed such abilities to have a physiological cause rather than a paranormal one. As spiritualism gained popularity in the mid-19th century, more scientists and researchers became interested in PSI phenomena. In 1882, the British Society of Psychical Research was found to study paranormal phenomena like ESP. And a few years later, in 1885, the American Society of Psychical Research was found. One of the most well-known researchers of ESP was Joseph Banks Rhine. Beginning in the 1930s, Rhine worked on a number of experiments designed to test for ESP at Duke University in North Carolina, using sets of Zener cards, and I'm sure maybe you've seen those cards. They are also referred to ESP cards. These are not tarot cards. These are usually 5 cards. One of them is a circle, a plus sign, a wave, a square, and a star. So Rhine tested for ESP, results above the chance statistic were attributed to PSI phenomena. Ryan carefully defined terms like ESP and PSI and continued to research PSI phenomena at Duke University until his retirement in the mid-1960s, I guess. And that's when he transferred his research to the Foundation for Research on the Nature of Man. So, who can experience extrasensory perception? Well, parapsychologists believe that every single person has the capability to experience extrasensory perception. Some people, however, appear to be more perceptive to it than others, especially children. Many children report their ability to use extrasensory perception. However, as we grow up, we tend to suppress our own subconscious, especially if we are not able to rationalize what we are experiencing. Now, does extrasensory perception has any problem, or does it contradict the theory of evolution? I would say certainly not. You see, while extrasensory perception may be a rare phenomenon in today's world, it has been argued that in the past things might have been very different. Renowned psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud claimed that telepathy might have been the way in which humans originally communicated with each other. He theorized that perhaps once humans being to learn language and were able to communicate more effectively, they stopped using telepathy, and thus the skill faded away. Interestingly, this idea has been backed up by a study undertaken by Dr. Montague Ullman, who found that people who were completely unable to communicate verbally or through hand signals were actually able to communicate on a telepathic level. The therapist was surprised by a telepathic dream of awareness of the physician's problem, indicating the amazing abilities of the subject in the study. But there are problems in the study of extrasensory perception. You see, extrasensory perception has a long been relegated to the field of pseudoscience. And this is largely because it's so difficult to prove through normal scientific study. For example, for a scientific study's results to be accepted by experts in the field, it must adhere to a series of rules. It must be in a controlled experiment or in a controlled environment. It must be repeatable and able to be tested. It must indicate hypotheses which covers all aspects of psychic activity. But with extrasensory perception, it's simply not going to happen, because ghostly apparitions and sightings cannot be repeated for the purpose of scientific research. For example, clairvoyants are not able to summon information on demand in a laboratory setting in order to corroborate their findings. And out-of-body experience are typically once-in-a-lifetime happenings. So they just don't happen on demand. For this reason, scientists have long been skeptical about the idea of extrasensory perception. While many studies have been completed, the results of these are best described as better than chance evidence of the existence of telepathy, clairvoyance, psychokinesis, and precognition and other ESP phenomena. There is one thing to keep in mind though. Every single scientific discovery in history has followed a long period of people being very dubious about facts which would come to be proven as true. Just think about the discovery of electricity and how people must have felt about lightning before they came to understand its existence. What do you think about people first thought when they saw the laws of attraction at work, but they had no understanding or what magnetism was all about or how it would work? How do you think people rationalized the powerful force of gravity before Newton's apple landed on his head? It is perfectly possible and indeed plausible that at some point in the future of our planet, humans will come to understand the rich and varied phenomenon that make up extrasensory perception in a lot more detail. We don't know when and we don't know how, but what we do know is that we cannot wait for that day to come. There are numbers of books on this subject which really do ask some serious questions and will really make you think. But for now, we'll cover the most popular types of extrasensory perception. The first one is precognition, and I'm sure that many people know about this. Precognition refers to the ability to see the future. Though the scientific community in general rejects precognition because of the lack of demonstration. However, many scientific explanations are available to explain it. Experiments conducted by the parapsychology laboratory at Duke University show the human mind has a habit along with the ability to subconsciously predict an outcome of events by judging current circumstances. And simply, such predictions, if later became true, are then related to precognition. Nostradamus is one of the most famous people known for his predictions, as he reportedly predicted several events throughout history that occurred long after his death. And of course, Edgar Cayce. I think you should look him up. His work was very, very impressive and interesting. Edgar Cayce. The second most famous ESP is called retrocognition. Retrocognition refers to the ability to see in the distant past. It can be as simple as recognizing a place or a person, or somehow knowing what happened in a certain situation when someone had nothing to do with that at the time it took place. When someone experiences déjà vu, it could be a simple instance of retrocognition. And someone has retrocognition abilities could possibly tell you in the present about what it was like to be a passenger on the Titanic when it sank in 1912, I guess. So, and if you would like to know more about déjà vu, there is a whole episode about it. I think it's episode 8. The next one is telepathy. We already covered that in the last episode, but briefly, telepathy refers to the ability to read other person's thoughts. Telepathy allows a person to communicate with one or more people using their mind, and if you've ever become so close to someone you can tell what they are thinking, you may not be a telepath, but you can understand the idea behind the particular type of ESP. Clairvoyance, and I'm sure if you are interested in the paranormal, you've heard this term before. Clairvoyance is simply refers to the ability to see objects or events that are happening to someone else. Similar to telepathy, clairvoyance refers to the ability to gain knowledge about a person, event, or things without sensory input. Though typically thought to be strongest during meditation, many psychics can get information about the past, present, and future in a variety of environments. And also, just something to keep in mind, some police departments in the world, they use psychics for some cases. And this is true. Yes, maybe they cannot present that at the a court hearing, but I personally know some police officers and some investigators, they have used psychics. But I guess maybe we'll leave that for another episode. Next is clairaudience. And not many people heard about this, but it's quite interesting. Clairaudience refers to the ability to hear objects or events that are happening to someone else. Now, you can hear them without any other additional sensory information. Like clairvoyance, clairaudience is thought to be strongest during meditation. However, many clairaudience skilled people can obtain information in a variety of environment. You see, now we're getting into some senses, some of our senses. Clairaudience is auditory. Auditory is hearing, which leads us to the next one, is called clairsentience. Clairsentience refers to the ability of perceive a feeling or maybe a thought throughout the body. Now, you can perceive that feeling throughout the whole body, but without any stimulation related to the feeling or information. Some people with this ability may also be considered as clear empaths. Now, clear empaths, as they can physically tune into other people's or places or animals' emotional experiences, for example. This is considered as a type of telepathy that allows emotions to be felt. This comes from one's ability to tune into vibration and feel the biomagnetic field of things, or what some people call the aura. Next is mediumship. Mediumship is the ability to communicate with the dead. They would do that by channeling the dead people's spirits. Most mediums use variety of types of ESP. That includes clairvoyance and clairaudience, and they use them to obtain their information. I will definitely do a whole episode about mediums and mediumship, because it is very interesting, and we had a couple of experiences while we're doing hypnosis in the past, and I was very much into that about 10-15 years ago when I started hypnosis and hypnotherapy. So it would be very interesting to know more about that. The next one is clairaudience. Now, this is a secondary from ESP. Clairaudience refers to the ability to smell. While all humans, of course, have the ability to smell, but this type of ESP refers to aromas that are not detected by everyone else. It is thought that these aromas are projected by spirits, but I would say it has nothing to do with spirits. It has something to do with your olfactory or smelling sense, and you can detect and identify things or events based on their ether and based on their age or biomagnetic signature and other things. I don't think spirits, they have anything to do with it. So it is your sense of smell, which is olfactory, and it's more induced, or it's more powerful, more stronger, more activated than somebody else. And through that sense, probably can tune into things to know about or to collect information. Next one is called clairgustance. Another secondary from ESP. Clairgustance refers to the ability to taste. It is as clairaudience, which is related to your olfactory sense. This is related to your gustatory or taste sense. And of course, while all humans have the ability to taste, but this type of ESP refers to the ability to taste without anything in the mouth. It is thought that those who have this ability can perceive the essence of a particular substance from events through taste. Yes, I said events. I didn't say food. Of course, they can taste the food by probably not even looking at it, which I think many people do through our auditory digital sense, which is the self-talk, or by saving, or what we call in NLP anchoring, or in psychology we call focalism. So those are memory of taste are saved in your mind, but we're not talking about this. They can taste events. For example, let's say someone had an accident and they bled. Maybe they can taste the blood, or maybe they can taste the oil of the car, or they can taste anything that is related to the event. So even that they can taste things, maybe it's a bit absurd to others, but it is related to ESP. So it is thought that everyone has the ability to use ESP in some shape or form, because we all can pick up a various of energies that exist. And since everything is energy, so every person has the ability to pick up various of these energies around. For many of us, however, we are unaware of how to develop these psychic powers. There are many ways to develop and improve your psychic abilities, but you must be willing to practice and, of course, believe it, as it can be done. And testing is available for many of the most common ESP abilities. And if you suspect your abilities go beyond the norm, then test it by maybe predicting the next song on the radio, for example, or something. But I'm sure there are lots of tests, because not all the tests are about precognition. And personally, from what I have witnessed during some hypnosis sessions with my clients in the past, makes me believe that ESP isn't just a gimmick. Or at least it makes me not denying it. I just keep an open mind, and certainly we don't know what we don't know. So that's it for today. And once again, if you are interested in learning NLP or hypnotherapy, and if you would like to study that online, just visit the mindtechinstitute.com, click on the online courses tab, and you can enroll and study online. And you'll also get certified upon finishing the course. And if you're interested in becoming a counselor, we also have a diploma in counseling, as well as other diplomas, such as advanced diplomas in leadership and management, advanced diplomas in marketing and communication, hospitality, and of course counseling, and others. All our diplomas and advanced diplomas are recognized globally. We provide a fast-track learning, and also you can get any diploma through us through a program called the Recognition of Prior Learning, RPL, where you don't need to study or sit in a class, but based on your experience. Of course, there are some conditions apply. All the information can be found on our website, mti.edu.au, or themindtechinstitute.com. So thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, you can email me. The email is on our website, themindtechinstitute.com. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, especially if you are listening to this podcast on YouTube. The Dynamic Thinking Project podcast is released every Friday. Until next time, take care and enjoy your weekend. This is Adam Muselli, signing out.